Hot yoga problems. Oh, I got them. You know I got them. Big time problems today, my yogi friends across the land. Oh, I'm just getting out of an afternoon class, a late afternoon class. I just want to acknowledge from the outset that late afternoon yoga, man, it hits different. For my tens of loyal listeners of the Raff's Brain Hot Yoga Problems podcast stream, you know I prefer the earliest possible sessions, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I mean, I'll do 3 in the morning. I want to be the first person in the studio. I want to christen the space with my sweat and anxiety and distress. And then I want to start the day with an extraordinary burst of energy and accomplishment that completing a hot yoga session brings when you do it that early. But you can't always pick the times, like you got to work in yoga around your life. Yoga has to become in sync with life challenges and obligations. And so I couldn't get up and go this morning. So I had to still maintain. So I hit up this core 2 hot yoga action. And it started at 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon on a Sunday. Now that is unusual. And I gotta tell you something interesting. I'm coming to realize this to be true because I've done mid-afternoon, late afternoon delight. You know what I'm saying? That hot afternoon yoga delight. Is there a more silly song than Afternoon Delight? Obviously, Anchorman solidified that in our pop culture. I knew it before that movie. That song was just always goofy to me. How's it go? Star rockets in sight. Boo! Afternoon delight. Hot afternoon. Hot yoga action in the afternoon delight. I don't know, man. It's not quite as fulfilling. But it's different because, you know what? I'm awake. So when I roll into a class at 6 in the morning, odds are I'm kind of like in a semi-comatose state. I try to wake up like an hour before class. So I'm waking up usually around 5 a.m. on a weekday. And I'm grabbing some coffee, getting some water. I'm trying to like shake my consciousness into reality. Hop in the car, jet over to the studio. Class usually starts at 6 a.m. I'm usually pretty good to go, but I'm still kind of like waking up. It takes me a little while to get moving. And that just means about the first 30 minutes, I'm not even cognizant of what's happening. And I kind of like that. It's like there's about halfway through the class, you're like, oh, I'm in Sun B. And I'm just starting to realize what day it is. Oh. So when you're in the afternoon, usually, unless you're like you have strange sleep patterns, you're going to be awake when you walk in the studio. For me today, I was awake, wide awake. I rolled in at 4:15. And you know what happened? Lots of people rolled in, dude. It was crowded. Weekend afternoon classes, packed to the gills. In fact, I was able to get my preferred spot in the front upper right-hand corner, right in the mirror, so I can take my glasses off and still see what's going on. No one's creeping up behind me to stab me in the back. I mean, I had to, be excited about that, but people kept coming in the class. I wanted these, like, what's it called? ASTM or ASMR, whatever. It's like the sounds of yoga. You could do a real interesting show on that. Just because you sit there, you lay down, I'm doing my breathing exercises, I'm getting in the zone, and I hear people tiptoeing in and unrolling their mats and having chit chat. It's just funny, man. It's like there's a very familiar, is it ASMR? What does the acronym even mean? It's like the people that tap their fingernails on the microphone and they whisper in the microphone, whisper, 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 whisper. There's a whole like genre of videos like this. I'm not into that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, hey, do you do you. All right? You do you. That's a classic phrase that we need to bring back. Mutual respect, toleration of others, regardless of what they do, as long as it doesn't affect you. Let's bring that culture back, man. So I don't care if you do ASMR video. I don't really give a hoot what you do, man. But it's just not for me. I don't hate it. But what I'm saying is, if I did like that genre of content, I would think that there could be a really interesting niche of content that would be, I don't know if it's called ASMR or ASTM, or I don't know what the acronyms are. I don't know the acronyms. But it's an acronym, and it's like sound, acoustics, I don't know. Anyway, amplified sound, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna look it up. I'll put it in the show notes. You look, and then if you want me to do an ASMR, ASTM, or whatever the heck the acronym is, type of yoga podcast, I could do that. I might be able to hit record and just get the background noise when people are coming into class. It's very familiar. If you're a yogi, you know this. You lay down, you hear people coming in, rolling out the mats, flop, flop, flap, flap. They're dropping their tin cans, ding, clank, clank, clank. Oh, people are chit-chatting, whisper, 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 ha, 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 chatting. Sometimes they're a little louder than a whisper. Sometimes people just don't give a hoot. They don't mind disrupting the whole class. It doesn't matter. What was I getting at? It was at a peak form today, man, because we had a full class. And one of the, yogis, not our instructor, had to pop his head in and go, hey, everybody, take a look at your mat guides and make sure you're lined up. I always line up. I am an orderly dude. I don't play games. I don't try to flop my mat over 2 spaces like people who do that in the parking lot. I want to slash their tires, man. I don't do it because I'm a non-violent human being. I don't attack other people's property, even when I disagree with what they're doing, even if they've made an egregious breach of social decorum, such as parking over 2 spaces. But if you put your mat over 2 spaces, similarly, you are selfish and you are egregiously violating the rules of society, man. And if you don't know that, someone's got to bring it to your attention. But the point is, there were so many people in class today that one of the yoga studio instructors had to come in and go, yo, everyone make sure that your mat lines up with the marks. We got a full class. I mean, they had, I think he said something like that. We have 48 spaces or 42 spaces. We got 42 people. So we need everybody to line up those mats. Let's go. Thankfully, I didn't have to rearrange anything because I'm already on top of that. I already respect space and rules and order and decorum in the yogi studio, as we should. And thank goodness my studio has those markings. A lot of studios I've been to don't have them, and then that causes problems. Because then it's like, what's the respected distance between the spaces? Everyone's gonna like use their own judgment? No, we can't have that. We need some order, man. We need some rules. We need some guidelines. So anyway, it was a packed class, which means it was hot, it was crowded, a lot of ASTM or whatever those acronyms are with the sounds, and it was just a fascinating experience. No big problems today in particular. I kicked butt in the actual flow. I felt pretty good about it. And I think the biggest revelation was, if I do more afternoon classes, I feel the experience much more intensely because I'm awake from the get, versus in the mornings and I'm just like, sleepy and I'm easing into it. Pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons, yin yang, baby. That's what it is. Yoga's all about that. Flow. So I don't know, maybe I got to work in more afternoon classes into my routine. For now, I don't think so, because it's just so much easier for me to get up early, go. There's fewer people, it's less crazy, get a little more space, and I just prefer that. But every once in a while, why not dip into an afternoon class? Get a little hot yoga afternoon delight. Woo! All right, folks. We're making progress in the new year. Hope you're having a good one. Until next time, namaste, mofos.